trying to hit this. I guess I could take one.
I believe that the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to win the World Championship.
They are advancing to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 20 years.
Oh, it's on, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, baby.
Nobody will ever come catch me. I'm just trying to be myself.
Welcome in. Hopefully you can hear me. You might not be able to hear me. Oh my gosh. Can you hear me? Let's see. You can hear me. Good. Welcome everybody. Oh, and Ashwin just got here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hear you. Oops, sorry. I put you on screen. Well, that's okay because I'm going to need Ashwin to talk for a while I fix some tech issues. But welcome in. Timberwolves win 112 to 101. What was it? I think that's what it was. Either way, way too close in the end. Ridiculous. Oh my gosh. We've got a lot of people here already. I appreciate all of you staying up. Oh, I guess it's not that late. I forgot this is a regular game. Get in here, everybody. Hey, everybody. Seems like, yeah, the games are definitely getting better. Oh, hey, brother. Hello, brother. You're here. Say hello to Kira. Okay, Ashwin's here. I can fix my mic because I don't think, or my headphones. I don't think I can hear you.
Hey, what's going on?
I think the stream can hear you.
Wolves win. I wouldn't say it was convincing, but in the third quarter, it really kind of just like mellowed out for us. A little bit of the dynamics, the early turnovers, right in the first half, kind of were settled down, and I was really appreciating kind of like the team aspect of the basketball game in the second half, especially with like Jaden kind of taking over in the early parts of the third quarter, and it seemed like no one player was like taking the game over, and I think that was kind of cool to see. It was also kind of like a welcome back to form from Mike Conley. So no longer is he just old, but maybe there's also like a tier inflation grade for him as well, especially clinching those free throws to seal the game to an extent, And had a kind of a weird game, kind of up and down. His shot was off. He had an air ball after like this 10 seconds of just cooking some random young dude from Toronto. I have a feeling that young teams are going to kind of fluster us a little bit this season because we are younger than last year, but we have not played the youth. In my opinion, that is going to be our bugaboo at times when we're just going to be a little bit slower to bring the ball up and push transition, and teams. Cameron, this is not how I want to do the show. I just came back from rainy Seattle, going outside for a minute, but so these are tears. These are tears of rain, not of whatever. I don't know. This is too much of my face. Let's get into the tier list. Cameron, this is so stupid. Early season results though. That's a crazy stat that Julius Randle has the most points in Timberwolves history after 3 games. Their start is in Timberwolves uniform. That's a little nutty, little embarrassing, I would say, as a franchise. Let's get into a couple comments, and I hope you can hear me. That would really suck if that whole time you were just like watching some random dude's face. You can't Randall the truth. Oh, how about that intro, huh? That was a pretty hype intro. They brought in humankind, big dogs. That's a cool song. And as they had Big Julius Randle, that was a cool intro for him. It was kind of fun to hear the Tower of Power and Divine 5. It's fun to hear that all back for the first time. Let's see here. Other big storylines was Grady Dick and Okai Achabi. I don't know his name. They were pretty solid. I think Toronto is in a world of pain, world of hurt. They're kind of acting like that too. They're playing their youth, and they're going to be in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. We have sights at a higher prize, and a game like this was good. Not great because I feel like also we could have probably extended the lead. We went to 22, and how did we keep the lead? We didn't. We kind of like relinquished a big chunk of it. This is great. This is great early growing pains. See the film, see what we could have done differently. I also feel like we kind of let off the gas pedal a little bit. We were a little bit sloppy. And, note the turnovers galore from Ant and Julius Randle as well. And they're going to be our primary ball handlers in the clutch period and in moments where it matters, right? So I was a little concerned, but not worried. This is an interesting game, right? The first game I was a little kind of stressed, especially, we lost whatever, but the stress of just handling trying to get back into the game. The second game, we kind of handled it for the pressure of being down double digits or whatever. Tonight, we were, wire to wire, we were in the lead. Welcome back, Cameron. That is a crazy background. Looks like you're tripping.
I don't know what's going on. I can't hear a single thing out of my computer, but I can hear you now. I'm on a different computer. So we're back.
I'm going to have to turn down my volume here. But yeah, so the wire to wire lead. This is great DNA to kind of now press on what was going right and going wrong. This is Toronto on the back end of a back-to-back and, flying to Minnesota from wherever they were last night. And I think they were in Philly or Toronto for their 100 free throw game against the Sixers.
Yeah. I think it was Philly. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say I was very impressed, thoroughly impressed with just our tenacity on defense. I think they had more points in the paint than I was expecting for a young team, but they just had a hard time making shots. And it wasn't if it wasn't for just tough shot making by Grady Dick, this would have been a 20-point win, easy. So tip my hat off to Toronto, just going through the mess right now because they're down 4 starters, which is nuts. But we'll win. We'll take these wins, and there's a lot of film to kind of assess and make things more polished as the season progresses.
Yeah. Sorry I wasn't there for the beginning, and sorry if I double up on anything. But yeah, I mean, the beginning of the game was fun. I guess it was kind of boring. I mean, we were winning, but it was really just due to a lot of Toronto turnovers. And then luckily they kept doing that in the entire game because that honestly might be the only reason we won. It's pretty crazy how we had to rely upon that in the fourth quarter, because if they didn't turn the ball over 3 or 4 times there down the stretch, this is probably just a tie game, which is concerning. But again, it is us just getting back into the flow of things. So I guess, I'm definitely not super pumped about Ant right now. I feel like Ant has been kind of lackluster to begin the season, and tonight was throwing away possessions, which is really annoying because when Towns was here, I kind of almost gave him a pass, not a pass, but it was him and Towns were kind of the leaders of the team, and I could understand there being an awkwardness in the hierarchy of leadership and being okay, well, who do I follow for what? Because we've talked about, if Ant could have a stinker night if Towns was doing okay, and Ant could just kind of stand in the corner, do Wiggins stuff and be nothing. But now Ant is the leader and leading the team, although he did end up hitting a couple buckets there at the end. Before that, it was a struggle. I did not like how much of a struggle it was for him. But at the end of the day, the Timberwolves do win, and it is good enough for now. We're 2-1, so I guess I won't complain too much.
What's up, Nicole Smith? Welcome to the show. Ant wanted Julius to pass the ball to McDaniels. Ant got upset. The chemistry, you totally saw that towards that latter part of the third quarter, and the chemistry was off. Chemistry was off. As we were building a lead, the chemistry was still kind of not flowing through the main stars, I thought. The DiVincenzo, Naz Reid minutes were also pretty solid to help build the lead. We all saw that. Yeah, great observation, too. And Nick Sullivan said, amazing game, got a little rough in the fourth. Ooh, we were cold. We were ice cold. I think they were 20-8 or something at that one point in that fourth quarter, and just chunked that lead back to single digits. And I was not scared, but it's how come with the type of firepower that we have out there currently that it wasn't able to sustain? How were we not able to kind of squash any kind of run? Maybe part of it is coaching, not a timeout. Maybe he went
Well,
he took the Phil Jackson blunt and was let's see them figure it out.
Well, I mean, he did take a few timeouts, and at the end where like the broadcast was talking about him not taking a timeout, he only had 2 left, and we still had 3 minutes to go. So it was kind of a moment of like, okay, well, I'd rather have these if we're going to be in a tie game or a free throw game, and advance the ball or something. So I kind of understand it, and to everybody that it was in the Discord was like, let them figure it out, and I guess they figured it out. I guess, but yeah, it is somewhat coaching too. I mean, I know that the broadcast again was talking about how they're like, oh yeah, Finch is going to be angry about this, and it's like, okay, yeah, but like, can we have some action? Can somebody care that he's angry, or can he do something a little bit extra angry? Or I don't know, because there were just like 2 timeouts in a row where we still struggled. But then I think that second one actually, or maybe the third, I don't remember, is where we had like a wide open play that was good, but still don't like it. I think also a lot of my disappointment in the end of the game is less about like, oh, the game got close and we almost lost, which we didn't almost lose, but it was more that I was really excited to possibly see Dillingham today. Yes, we want Dilly, we want Garza, we want Minot, we want all these guys to come in and play and have their first game, which really seemed like a possibility, especially in after the third quarter where we were up by almost 20. And it's like, okay, all we have to do is put the gas on them for just a couple minutes, and then we can throw some guys in with a 20 to 25 point lead and have a 15-point cushion until we bring our starters back. But the starters couldn't even hold the lead. So, but also, yeah, Toronto's on a back-to-back, and it's just like they should be tired. They're hurt. This shouldn't be a game. But
yeah,
is this just a Timberwolves thing, or is this just an NBA thing? Is this just the NBA is too good, and if you slack off at all, then the other team is just going to, or is it the Timberwolves slacking off every single time?
Yeah, I mean, it probably is a summation of all of that combined.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a little column A, column B going on where we're a new team. Like, we're a tested team, we're a vet-laden team, but we're also new with a lot of parts that we're gonna be talking about constantly and like trying to find rhythm and synergies and chemistry. That's gonna be a huge theme for this whole season, for our post-game shows, for Grady and Jim Pete to be talking about. By the way, they haven't brought up Towns at all, have they?
Only, I think, well, we didn't really get a chance because in our first game, the first game of the season, of the regular season, it was national. And I didn't see any of the pregame for the second one. They did talk about it in a preseason game a little bit. But that was like the extent of everything that they've talked about Towns. They really haven't brought it up that much.
Yeah. Pretty interesting, because there were moments especially in the fourth quarter, like either Towns is sitting or like in the moments when they took out Naz Reid to bring Julius Randle back, or I think there was a Julius Randle Naz Reid moment, but like they brought back in Rudy. Like there was moments where I think like we needed someone to take over, and we didn't find anyone, and Anthony Edwards was kind of just bricking shots, and Julius Randle was a little timid. It was like ooh, Towns would have tried to do something here, and I was just thinking, would they have brought that up in that moment? There was like a moment where I was just reflecting on what we would have done. This is kind of a new team, so we don't need to talk about, rehash the past, reflect on. But it was just like a thing that I was thinking of, and I wanted to bring up, like, hey, have they really even brought up a Towns aspect? Hey, we got a pretty favorable whistle tonight. I didn't really complain or like care about the refs at all, and actually in moments I was like, whoa, those are like ticky-tack fouls that we're getting the favor of.
Yes.
And we didn't really capitalize to the extent that like, we could have blown this team out. I really did want to see, especially our first home cooking game, right? Really would have wanted to see the youth. That's all right.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to wait for our next game, which I already forgot who we play. But
that's crazy. Do you see this?
What? Wow. Okay. That's
crazy. That happened in the first quarter, I think, too, if I'm mistaken.
That is wild. Yeah, Ant's taking a lot of threes. How many did he take tonight? He took
12.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Okay. So he took a lot.
That's great. This is like what we wanted to see someone out of other players last year, and like now we're seeing it in a healthy dose from our our main rhythm guy. Actually, this will help him open up his late game prowess when he's shooting and not exerting himself early to getting the rim. All we wanted previous years were him to get to the rim, and he would just run out of gas, and he would be double teamed. And now he's finding his way through all that, and maybe he wasn't feeling the double team so much tonight. His shot was just off.
Yeah.
That first three by Julius Randle, my God, that was so butter. And I was just like, we're not missing anything. But then, he was a little reluctant to shoot threes after that.
Yeah, for sure.
FKD. Welcome back, my friend.
Yes, welcome back to the game. And shout out Eric Heller, 5 gifted. Appreciate you. You don't have to do that, but we do appreciate the support. And, I haven't said this yet, but we will be having some giveaways, not tonight, but we will be having some giveaways this season. Trying to have some natural numbers here to begin the season so that I can kind of gauge where we are from an analytical standpoint. But we will be having some soon. And I've got plenty of tickets to give away. And
you're into analytics now?
All good stuff.
Let's grow.
Analytics. Look at us. Nicole with a great question. Do you guys worry about the ball hogging between Julius and Ant? I also saw Ant pass the ball across the court, which turned into a turnover instead of passing to Julius, who was right next to him. Oh my God, I didn't see Julius right next to him on that play. I just saw the kind of lazy because, last game I was kind of trying to. This is a lot of coping or copium or whatever. He throws kind of a lazy half court pass, and at first I thought that maybe that was intentional to get the defender who's in the middle to try to jump for the ball but not be able to get it, and then the person in the corner is just wide open because the defender tried to go for the ball. That's obviously very homerism kind of glasses having on there. And tonight was like a night where it's like, okay, well, now it's just a turnover because people can just grab it out of the air. I did not see Julius on that play. To answer the question directly, though, about the ball hogging between the two of them, I'm not too worried. I mean, I think Ant showed plenty of signs with Cat, and even verbally said that he wanted Cat to take the ball, shoot the ball, do all the things with the ball. And I don't think he's really going to have too much of a problem. I think Randall tonight, it showed up a little bit like ball hogging because there was that moment where he missed Jaden wide open for 3 late in the fourth quarter. But I do think that Julius is just getting used to it a little bit into the offense, and he's focusing on scoring and not looking like a failure of the trade or something like that. But no, I don't think so. How do you feel about that, Ashton? Do you think that this is an issue?
No, these are just ballers that want to take over and seal the game and just take over, right? I think I would be worried mid-season. I would be worried late game season when we're kind of trying to find our Finch's flow and we're trying to find the unsung hero or the next man, right? The pass to the next man, and that's not really embedded into heroics. They want to take the game over because it's their team, and also they've always been the guy on every team, right? Yeah. So, and then when Julius Randle got a Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby and all these other people to fill in, and now his role is suddenly submerged, and now he's trying to find whenever he gets the ball to be aggressive as you would always want to be, as you were the guy in every team, right? So I totally get that. And I would say when he got traded here, he just wants to win. He just wants a championship. He just wants to be the guy to support Ant and make him flourish. He said that in interviews. And so long story short, I'm not worried. I'd be worried towards the later part of the season, but that's really cool to talk about now because it's we're seeing it maybe an overusage, but that's also part of our DNA here where we're going to want to have the ball in Julius Randle's hands because he's going to be that playmaker that's been kind of underrated for his career.
Yep. And we need it for the offense to work because we can't just have Ant cook every single game. That's not how it's going to work. We need Julius and DiVincenzo and even Conley, all the more so primary ball handlers to have an ability to score. Because it can't just be Ant. But
we might get this into the tier list, but and we might even want to bring this up now, get it ready, I guess. But there was a moment in the fourth quarter that was so just dumbfounding where we were let's post up Rudy Gobert, right? Let's take this possession off and watch Rudy cook on this young guy, and he shanked it. So then we were let's get Rudy a couple of possessions here where they lobbed it. The lobs were amazing. That's Rudy not thinking and getting a pass, and that was a pass from some of our others, right? So it's great to see that kind of dynamic shifting. But like that first possession was obnoxious, was atrocious. It was like, what are we doing here? This is not at all showing our strengths at all as a team. And so, like, I would almost expect, and Eric is saying, I would almost want sometimes the ball to only be with Julius Randle and Ant. Anyways, kind of like summarizing that.
It's kind of like, the way that I think about it is it's honestly, even though Julius is obviously a power forward and there's other players, a point guard, it's similar to D'Lo and Ant in the first series of the playoffs that they had together, where they both are kind of at the top of the key here, passing the ball back and forth, working their respective sides to either drive or shoot. And it just pulls the defense just enough to open up for other guys or for themselves to just kind of pass it back and forth and work it out between them. But Julius is obviously a little bit better of a driver, and so is Ant. So, yeah, I guess we'll see. But Steve, wait, what's old? I don't remember this tier. You're correct. And speaking of, great transition to the tier list. So we've got the tier list up. A1, obviously everybody knows, is the top thing. Nobody got A1 tonight, but it's a great game. At the very bottom, sorry, I'm doing this one screen here, and I have so many tabs up. Oh my gosh. Here we go. But at the bottom, we've got Glenn Taylor. All of these names, other than maybe A1 and Cash, are kind of up for debate, and Wancho. Wancho is just like an all-timer. But obviously, and everything else in between, meh isn't bad. It's just maybe not amazing and not like super bad. So just kind of meh, what we expect. And old is new, and it's kind of a dynamic tier. It can move up and down from game to game, as I think we will see tonight. It is just for people who are playing old.
Yeah. Let's start with the tier list here. Joe Ingles, Johnny 2X says, shouldn't even be part of our rotation, and Mike's minutes should be reduced if it means getting Rob Dillingham some minutes every game. Oh my God, yes.
I disagree.
Joe Ingles, huh? Go ahead.
I disagree.
Ooh, let's talk about Joe Ingles for 10 minutes then. So Jingling Joe Ingles, had a crazy smile when
great game tonight.
When Dante DiVincenzo hit a half-court three, but his impact was actually immediately felt when he was brought on tonight, and he had 4 assists in 5 minutes. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, maybe if we're going to include him in the rotation, include him more, like make him more important. But actually, what he did do was like help Gobert get moving offensively too. I think this was his best game as a Minnesota Timberwolf, and it was 5 minutes, 0 points. But I'm going to say the old tier is above meh.
I agree. I think, okay, I thought you were going to go crazy low. It scared me. Because I actually thought his role that he had for 5 minutes, even though he had 3 fouls also in those 5 minutes, this felt like the jingles that I'm expecting this season, where we get some lobs to Rudy. I still am hoping for more 3-point shooting. He didn't even take a shot tonight, but it sort of wasn't needed in the 5 minutes that he was out there, since he was able to lob it successfully and get a couple assists out there. But still, I think that this was a good game from him. And I think it shows flashes of what I'm talking about, where he can kind of sort of be the Kyle Anderson point guard that brings the ball up and is able to get people the ball. I mean, he obviously has worked with Rudy. So, again, though, we're not going to spend 30 minutes like I try to every single night on Joe Ingles. But I do agree, and I think he's old tier, and it's above meh.
So you disagree with Nicole Smith that Johnny is right. Ingles is a thumbs down for you podcast listeners at home. Big fat thumbs down right now from me. And then Johnny 2X says Joe can play basketball, but I want to see, and I think I, as a global I, want to see Terrence Shannon Jr. get minutes. Go ahead. That's okay. That's the part that I'll concede. I would much rather be seeing Dillingham right now and Terrence Shannon out there, because I do think that they can contribute, and I'm just excited to see that. Or if they can't, I want to see that just so that I know that it's not going to work. But I do think that they could work. I don't know. I am going to be a Joe Ingles apologist, I think, this season, and I am going to say that he is going to play a crucial role. Huh? He is going to be a crucial player for us this year. That's my give Cameron a raise. That's amazing. And actually, to this point, Charlie Barley is absolutely correct. Ingles is trying to just set the tone, not be like some sort of like tempo diffuser. He's just going to be playing in the role in the system that he's like meant to be in. He was in the first quarter. We got like 8 or 9 people already in the first quarter. That was kind of unusual for me to see. Usually you see like at least like early Finch was like you ride the starters for like 10, 11 minutes straight. But anyways, moving on. I think like, yeah, you want to experiment with Terrence Shannon Jr. You want to have that cushion. We didn't have that cushion. We almost had that cushion.
I know. That's why I'm so upset.
That's just like, lead kind of just like dwindled in half. So that's maybe why it could have had a fourth quarter youth movement, but that didn't happen. Maybe it's not even to blame the Joe Ingles. This is 10 minutes on Joe Ingles. This is like, let's not blame Joe Ingles. Let's blame what happened.
Yeah, no.
Players around that didn't let
I
the
blame
young
like
players.
Ant. Like I blame Ant and Randall and Mike and all the starters because they needed to keep that lead so that the other players could play, and instead they just have to sit for another game. And now the next game that we're playing is against the Mavs, and it's like, well, that's probably going to be a close game. Maybe we get blown out so bad that they play anyways. I don't know. Maybe that's our next hope is that we have to get blown out for them to play. But whatever. Anyway.
And when I said 5 minutes, I was right. All right, so hey, moving on. Sorry, Joe Ingles. It's not a Joe Ingles only podcast. Does he have his own podcast? I don't have no idea.
I don't think so. I think he hates everything.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker got sucker punched in the gut. I hope he's okay. In 16 minutes, he hit a 3, 4 points, 4 assists. That is my stat for sure. Of one of the highlights of the night was his 4 awesome passes from Nickeil Alexander-Walker to get shots going, and he even got to the line. So I think like his stat line isn't going to do its justice. I think at times we were kind of like just like flopping around, and I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker brought a little bit of stability. And maybe we weren't on our game defensively tonight, but I think I saw a lot from Nickeil Alexander-Walker, at least stopping the head of the snake with like Grady Dick when he was on him. So I'm going to give him a meh, but like, you know, it would have been great if he hit more. So
yeah, I think I'm good with a meh tonight. I was like sort of kind of thinking maybe a B, but it's like, I mean, there really wasn't like that. I mean, you're right. The assists, great. And I do feel like it was one of those eye test things where when he was out there, it felt a lot better. But there really just wasn't that much. 4 points and 4 assists. So, but he did get to that line. He almost tried to hammer dunk it on somebody, which is what got him to the line. I was going to be very hyped if he actually connected with that, but he didn't. So I think Matt is fair. This is probably on par with what we expect from him every night.
Yeah, eye test on par. Naz Reid, 21 minutes, 10 points, 4 rebounds. This is not 6th man of the year production. I feel like he was very timid. He was a little lost out there. I think his -5 and the plus or minus is reflective of that. And this is not the form that I like. I loved last game where he was banging for the boards. I think he was getting out and muscled by the young guys.
Yeah,
like the Mogo. What's his name? Mobo and other people. So it was kind of crazy to see that.
Yeah, I think the -5 is a -5 in attitude tonight. I just didn't like his body language, and he's still arguing a lot of things that really drive me kind of crazy. I want him to stop. He's now my new person to be mad at when they're getting angry at the refs, because he does it so far every single game. He gets like annoyingly upset at certain calls or out of bounds calls or whatever. So it's annoying to me. I do think that this, for my grade for him, it's probably just a meh. I mean, it isn't what we want. This is kind of like a bad meh. So maybe it's D'Lo. I don't know. I do want more, but yeah, it's just we need more than what he's giving us right now. So, but it's the beginning of the season. I'm not trying to get too, again, this is just about tonight. We're not talking about a whole season stuff. Tonight, not fantastic. Hoping that he can turn it around here and get a good Naz Reid game in there. We need some dunks. I think that's the cure for a lot of the things that are going wrong right now. If we can get more dunks, that's good. So
yeah, the way that the Sacramento team and the crowd was just like cheering on everything that was happening, I want that energy and electricity back in Target Center, because the playoffs were a riot. Holy crap, right? And so I am still like revving off of the high that we felt, right? And I'm still like, oh, this is kind of just like a calm,
Yeah.
or like I'm trying to get hype again, and I haven't felt that hype yet. So those dunks, like you said, those transition plays, like that Julius Randle dunk was pretty sick, and he kind of like did a flex as well, so he was kind of hype about it. But yeah, Dante DiVincenzo kind of started that out. Actually, the first half he was awesome. He was lights out, and even Peterson kind of commented on it. In the second half, he was a little bit bottoms, but that's okay. 23 minutes, 5 for 15 from the floor, 16 points, 4 for 11 from three, a couple turnovers here and there, and just I really like his playmaking, defensive acuity. I think he had a couple like defensive stops too that was pretty awesome to see. But 4 for 11 from three, I guess we can't really complain about it because he's shooting threes. He's a light out shooter, but his first half presence was not felt in the second half.
Yeah, no, there were flashes from him tonight that I really liked, and I liked him being able to get. I thought him shooting well in the beginning was like a sign that he was going to have like a crazy game, because I was like, okay, he's had some not such great games to start the season. Certainly not what we expected from DiVincenzo, and then he immediately hits a couple threes. Hits that super long three from almost half court, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be a great game for him. This is going to be the game that gets Target Center to love him like they love Garza. But yeah, it was just kind of lacking. Like you said, 11 3-pointers is fine for me. I want him taking a lot. Of course, I'd like him to convert on a little bit more, but he shot 36%, so it's not like that crazy. But you would hope, for another make or two, I guess, if you're being picky. So, yeah. I think that this is probably, not to be so boring, but it's like, the first half was probably like B to an A. And then the second half was like D'Lo to a Wancho, which then puts me right in the meh tier.
So you're saying Jingles is better than Dante DiVincenzo?
I think Jingles was good tonight. I like Jingles.
0 points is better than
0 points was better tonight.
Oh my gosh. Hey man. This is on your tombstone, so I don't know if Tombstone makes gluten-free pizzas, but
all right.
I don't know what I'm saying. Hey, let's move on to the starters. For you guys at home listening after the fact, even listening on whatever podcast platform you are, we do this every game. We rank players A1 to Wancho, A1 to Glenn Taylor. We have this big tier. We have a dynamic tier list with like a Matt tier or like an old tier that kind of fluctuates between. And we are just subjectively grading them from night to night with just the basis of expectations, because that's who we are. We're not any sort of expert or pundit. We're just fans of the game, just like you guys. And we're building community here on Wolves After Dark, Wad Squad, Assemble. And would love to have you here. And if not, rate us on your favorite podcast platform. Give us 5 stars. Tell us what you love about us or not. And that's fine too. And moving on to the starters. That was my first time doing a little half ad read. I hope that was good. But Mike Conley, as a starter, welcome back, my friend. Although his stat line looks a little wonky, it's more or less what I wanted to see, especially the first half. 26 minutes, 2 for 9 from the floor.
That's crazy.
Does not sound good, but 10 points, 2 for 6 from 3, hit 4 free throws, 6 assists, 4 steals all in the first half, and a block shot.
Yeah, that's crazy that he was 2 for 9. It felt way better than that to me. And it shows in his plus minus he was plus 17. But I feel like he was this was the night where I was like, yes, I want Mike to be out there, because every time he was out there, it felt like we went on a run or caused turnovers or just had a little bit more structure, I guess. In a night where, Ant as the ball handler was not fantastic. So I don't know. I think it was, I thought it was a pretty good Mike game. And even though it was 2 of 9, I almost I don't know. I think it's better than meh. And I think that it's just kind of a given that it's the old tier, which is, I think, in the right spot for Mike tonight too.
The right spot. He's old.
He is old.
He's just slightly above meh.
Yes. So Mike is also old. Yes, Steve. Where's Mike here? There you are, Mike.
Slightly above meh tonight was also Jaden McDaniels. 33 minutes, 9 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 block shots, hit a 3, his only 3. And I don't think we really looked for him at all in the first half. And They even commented a little bit in the second half about like this part of the season is dynamic, especially with Finch kind of like promoting the fact that we are professing the fact that we are going to include him in the offense is get Jaden more involved. We made this trade to kind of also like assimilate him more involved in the offense, and hasn't seen early returns, but that's okay. Like as Nicole's point was, we have some ball handlers, we have some ball hogs, and the ball isn't moving as like great as we wanted to or as fluid as we wanted to. And I think Jaden has been open on several, if not dozens of occasions, and we're just not seeing him, especially Ant. And we'll get into Ant later. So this is not like a product of Jaden's misfortunes. I just think he hasn't had the ball in his hands to make a play or make a shot. The second half, we just like put it in his hands, kind of like as you did early in the season. You were like putting it in Conley's hands to get him going or get him kind of effective on the court. So that's what kind of when we saw it. And it was awesome to see the 9-point like burst from him. He's so capable to take over games, honestly, but we just aren't really pushing him and kind of like highlighting him. I loved what I saw from him tonight, both ends of the floor. He didn't really get into foul trouble either, but I'll leave the grade up to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I felt like this was an okay game from him too. I mean, like the stats are always just so misleading with Jaden. I think for a grade, I might go B. Because I do think that his defense was needed tonight. And again, it was one of those players where, there's certain nights where you want certain players on the floor and there's certain nights where you don't. And tonight felt like a night where every time Jaden was called into the game, I was like, okay, I feel good. Like that's a good thing. So I feel like that's warranted to give him up to a B. So
yeah, that insane block shot too on Boucher.
Yep. Let's see where
I think they actually ended up scoring on that possession anyways, or like right after it. But it's still
I
like
know, yes, you're right.
Impact that he has on that end when he can be kind of recovery post support. Right. I love it. So
yep.
Speaking of post support, Rudy Gobert, 39 minutes essentially, 15 points, 12 rebounds. 4 block shots.
Yeah, four blocks, 13 rebounds, at least on my end. But yeah, this was a great night and the highest plus minus player of the night. And what do we say? It felt like it. Yeah, Rudy, when Rudy was out there, and this is kind of how all season has felt. This is why, other than maybe the Lakers game, I guess the Lakers game was a little different, but that's just because AD is just the wrong matchup for Rudy. But this is where people don't understand Rudy's effect and defensive gravity on the floor. He really does change the game on defense, even if he's not doing anything. But tonight he was. He had 4 blocks, 13 rebounds, and he was scoring fantastic. I mean, this was a really good night from him. Obviously, this isn't overly crazy good game, but this is a good game. We have high expectations, but honestly, maybe this is, I don't know. What would you say for a grade on Rudy tonight?
I love the A grade for him. I'm not going to really pressure you to like push it in any other direction. I'd be fine with whatever you want to do. But yeah, as Charlie Barley says, Rudy sets the tone, and Johnny 2X asks, kind of like proposes that we shouldn't need to use him for 40 minutes. However, holy crap, the lead dwindled down to 7, and so we had Gobert in early in the fourth to kind of thwart that lead, and he did. So in a lot of ways, he also kind of took over on the other end too, which was just warranted and nice to see. And in dire situations, he's like a release valve to like, oh, now we can sit down again and not like clench our butt. So what I would really like to see, you were talking about dunks earlier this year.
Yeah.
I don't want to see any post moves from him. Like, I really don't. It's not fun.
No.
It's really cringe. And I get it. Like, for the first half, he didn't see much of the ball whatsoever. He was setting awesome screens. I think at one point he had an offensive foul or whatever, but he had awesome screens and awesome kind of like assist screens, right? To get DiVincenzo open and all those other players open for threes and stuff. But to get him involved in like alley-oop action, the DeAndre Jordan, Chris Paul, like Lob City crap, it's so easy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an underrated like action that we can do. Ant threw a lob for maybe the first time in his career.
And connected. Yes, that was great.
Yeah. We can do that. And Gobert, like, if you throw it easy enough, soft enough, and Ant throws soft passes, as we were talking about, Gobert's going to land those oops. So, and they're impactful. and that like probably juices him up like no other. Like
Yeah.
that was that one possession right immediately after he had like a back-to-back defensive possession where he almost like blocked it after the fact and everything. So I give him an A. I would put him up higher, but like I don't know. I don't think anyone really deserves a cash tier, A1 tier tonight. So
yeah, no. The other thing to Johnny 2X's question, the thing I don't understand about Luka is that it's like Luka's played in some kind of big games for us. Like last season, he had to play against Denver like late in the season in an important game against Jokic, and he was like able to like hold his own and score some. So to me, I understand, as we were talking about last episode, like Finch's desire to not play young players because he's worried about a lead slipping away or he's worried about ruining their confidence or something like that. I feel like Garza's past that. He's been here multiple seasons now, no? So it's like, why are we not giving Garza even just the slightest amount of minutes to swap in at center? But you're right. I mean, tonight, the minute that Gobert went out, it's like we lose the lead. So, but maybe that could have been Garza. Garza's a good rebounder too, or at least he's a scrappy rebounder. So I would like to see it at some point. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I guess we'll see. I put him in A though. I think A is fair for tonight. So I like that grade for him.
cool. One thing that I was noticing is that in the third quarter we were scoring, but so was Toronto. I felt like the defense kind of like lapsed a little bit and relaxed. And what we saw from Julius Randle, big Julius Randle, in the game against Sacramento, we might have like a kind of a hot and cold, not relationship, but like season of him kind of finding himself, finding a rhythm. Maybe that's the journey of Julius Randle. Like we don't know what he is capable of in a long season stretches. We have seen, Towns be like a 50, 40, 90 player pretty much his whole career, but also like there were some bursts where he was just popping off for 30 a night. And, is that Julius Randle's game? Like,
Yeah.
find that out, discover that, and kind of experience this Julius Randle journey. And tonight was a different form. He hit that first three, and then he was very reluctant to shoot threes. He had that corner three that shanked and whatever, but that's fine. I think he didn't go off for the offensive rebound. I'm just going to read off the stats now, and then we can talk a little bit more about him. But 36 minutes, 9 for 16 from the floor. Awesome. 24 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Awesome. 4 turnovers.
Yeah. A lot were early, and it was frustrating. I think he thought he was getting fouled, but this is the thing that concerns me a little bit mentality-wise about the team, is that like early on, it seemed like we were all kind of not taking the game seriously. And I think some of those were Randle's turnovers. And I'm not saying that Randle is the core reason for this. I think it's a team-wide issue, possibly even coaching, or I don't know what it is. I mean, I think it comes down to Ant. I think Ant just does not care about big games or small games like this. So like that energy is seeping into the rest of the team. And I think that we felt a little bit of that from Randle, because I felt like the first few games from Randle, he was very aggressive and purposeful. And I felt like tonight was a little less in the beginning when he had some of those turnovers. So, but at the end of looking at the game as a whole, it was a good game. And he was able to do a lot of things that we had kind of wanted Towns to be able to do for a while. I mean, he's driving, successfully getting under the basket and being able to just easily lay it in. Also, he was cooking people, doing his like spin moves, layups. Like, whoa, that is impressive. Our former power forward would have flopped and then turned the ball over. Or done a lot of between the legs dribbling. And this is straight hoops, and I love it. I want to see more of this, and I think this is good for our offense.
What a salient point. Like, it's straight hoops. Yeah, I love that he was just binding up whoever was, I think it was Pirtle at one point or some other guy. And he's just, all right, he got the foul call, but he was just muscling him. And I think there was a point where he drove to the rim and got a layup or whatever. It was a really difficult shot. And I think he was driving left, and he shot with his left hand over the outstretched arms, got it to go in. He didn't fall down, right? Like, it would have been transitioned the other way, right? And he's like one of the first people back already. So it's like, feels great to just have a stout player, like, body-wise, as well as like his ability. So I'm really excited to see the journey that we get to experience with him. And also, there's going to be bad, as we saw in the first game. So we get to hopefully compensate for that with other players. DiVincenzo, Anthony Edwards is next on the tier list. What did we give Julius Randle as a grade?
Oh, I don't know. It's kind of all over the place. It's like back and forth so much. I guess I almost want to give him a B, but I think, maybe it's just a B.
I think it's a B.
Okay.
I think it's a B. The 4 turnovers would have probably sank him, but I think there's some fun assists that he had. 5 assists, man. That's pretty sweet.
Yep.
I'm really impressed. That's like a thing that we're gonna always be kind of now like watching. Like that's the floor, the 4 or 5 assist game from him. We can spread it around so Conley doesn't have to always run the offense. That's another underrated skill set of him, is he can initiate offense and really collapse defenses. So we can see that in droves. Anthony Edwards, 39 minutes, 24 points, 9 for 21 from the floor. So in 3 games, he's been kind of an inefficient, 10 for 25 type of percentage, like about 40%. But that's okay. I think early returns are fine. 5 for 12 from 3. It's interesting. Is it impressive? Not sure. Some of them are forced. But 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 turnovers, and a block shot and a steal.
He is really forcing it. It wasn't as egregious tonight as it was. I don't remember what game it was where he kept like dribbling out from like in the paint to the 3-point line with nobody on him. But he is obviously making a very strong effort to take as many threes as he can. I think Ant tonight, although he did end up closing the game, getting us to where we needed to, obviously with the dunk and the 3, or the 3 of the dunk, respectively. Honestly, I think my grade's going to be low. I think this is a D-low night from Ant. I'm basing this off of what I expect out of our number 1 player. I expect maturity. I expect less turnovers. I expect, to take this team, even though they may not be in the same level of our team. I'm kind of sick of having the Timberwolves take easy teams lightly. And I thought that Ant would maybe fix that this year. And it seems like early returns are not looking great. It looks like we're still going to have this issue of, 1, not taking bad teams seriously, and 2, letting bad teams come right back into the game. And of course, I know this is unfair to pin it completely on Ant, because it's not just Ant that let the game get back close. In ways tonight, there were times where it was just Ant, where he was like trying to ISO and then he turns it over, or he's just attempting a 3 because it's like whatever. But as somebody said earlier, if you're not with him, with like Rudy, with his post game, you're not there for his lob. With Ant, it's kind of like if you're not there for his turnovers, you're not there for his game-winning plays. So, and tonight he had some turnovers and he also had some game-winning plays. So maybe D'Lo's too intense of a grade, but I certainly can't put him above meh tonight, because I feel like there was too much that I still was craving from Ant in this game that did not happen.
The craving of Ant. That's interesting. I would almost say like the flurry of Steph that took the NBA by storm. It's now like the torch is kind of passed to Ant, and Ant taking over and just like being a walking like viral sensation is like, it's the funnest thing to watch on sports, basketball or whatever, at least. That walk-off Grand Slam was pretty exciting, game 1 in the World Series, but I don't even really follow baseball, but that was exciting as hell. Yeah. But Ant on fire is exciting, and there's very much a biased tone to this, but it's like maybe the most exciting thing in basketball right now. He has a kind of a runway to kind of experiment, lose a little bit of his flair, try new things, and then also recover. Because when the season progresses, the season kind of ends, he's going to be at his peak form. That's also a very aggressive, assertive form. Right now, he's also asked to be a playmaker, a leader, a shot taker, get to the rim, do literally everything. And, he wants it. He's asking for it, but also like, that's a lot of things to think about. I think he's improving as a playmaker. One of my favorite things that I'm seeing is that lob to Gobert, the kickback passes that I'm seeing him do. And there's going to be some faulty ball handling. There's going to be some air balls and things like that. And we take the good with all that, I think, and the great with all that. So I think also his demeanor, his leadership intangibles, the things that are not recorded in stat lines, bump him up from a D'Lo to a Met to me, because guess who would have been like flustered with all those misses? Like, guess who would have been like kind of like out of the game when he like missed a shot, forcibly run it back, take another shot. I think he was always kind of mostly in the flow, except for when he was a couple times aggressive and in an ISO situation. So, and I think we kind of want that. Like, he's our best playmaker anyways. So like in a lot of ways, I'll take that bad shot from him versus like maybe a good shot from someone else sometimes, right? So
yeah, no, you're right. You do want him to be aggressive, and it is a lot to learn right off the bat, or not to learn, but to adjust to now. So there is that element too. So yeah, I think Matt is fair at the end of the day.
Cameron, really quick, I don't need to be right or anything. I don't need to be justify that. I'm just like, I really appreciate, even though the 4 turnovers, the missed shots, the like maybe mistiming on defensive assignments, like he's still kind of bringing a leadership kind of mentality that kind of offsets some of those mistakes that he would have probably been self-centered and like, I don't know. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing out of him, despite the early returns of being like maybe set form. Right?
Yep. No, this is not me thinking that I'm suddenly like changing my tune and finding a new player to hate on the team.
But we are, and you are right about the potential scapegoat of the team this season. We had that season preview kind of like episode where we talked about who could be the scapegoat, and like we talked about Ant as like the one of the players to like really look at. It's like, all right, now it's his team. The keys are in with him, dangling right in front of him, and it's the fact that like since everything does kind of lie with him, and it is like he is the one taking shots at the end of games. He is the one that has the ball in his hands at the end of games. So it really does kind of come down to him, especially in close games. But also leadership wise. So yeah, I mean, I think that Ant is, the flaws that Ant has make him very strong candidate to be a scapegoat, because there's turnovers, there's missed shots, there's ball hoggingness, that could happen. But it's difficult because that's what we also want out of him. So, I mean, not the turnovers. We want him to be a ball hog. We want him to have those exciting moments that you're talking about, because he is one of the most exciting things in sports when he's hot, because he can do everything. He can hit threes, step back threes. He can dunk. John Collins dunk on people, like he is a ESPN top 10 machine when he is hot. And, when he's not, it's just, we can't rely on that fully. We need other players to step up. And if Ant's not willing to give it up, then there's that. So anyways, I think Matt is fine. I'm not sad about not having a D'Lo or something like that. I just think that is something that should be certainly considered. A game like this, especially later in the season, if this was to happen, I would feel much stronger about the D'Lo or lower, because I need more out of him than that. But we're only 3 games in, whatever it is. So yeah, cool. That was everybody. It's everyone.
That is everybody. It shouldn't be everybody. We should have Dillingham on there. But we've got Rudy and A, Jaden and Randall and B, Mike and Jingles in the dynamic old tier. And then we've got Ant and DiVincenzo in Meh, and then at the bottom, Nas and D'Lo. So
I want you to stay there, Nas.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, next up, who do we got? I had my schedule up and then I took away from it. Dallas. We play the Mavs on Tuesday. It's a slightly early game. It's at 6:30 Central Time. And then we play Denver at home. Both of these games are at home, by the way. The Denver game, Denver doesn't look very good. I was worried about that in the beginning of the season, thinking, oh man, we have to play a hungry Denver team that's going to be angry about losing to us in 7 in the playoffs. Still could be accurate. But they are struggling right now. They do not look fantastic. And then we play the Spurs, and then we play the Hornets, and then we play like 17 games against the Trailblazers. Barely exaggerating, right. By the way, barely exaggerating.
Right.
Yeah, how are you feeling about the Dallas game? Are you worried about the Dallas game? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm worried about the Dallas game.
I'm terrified because I think that it's the same as the playoffs last year, because it's like, how do we stop Luka? Like Luka, if he's on, there's just like kind of no way to stop him. And same, like you have to really hope for so many things to go wrong. Like you have to take Luka out of the game, which is like near impossible. Like he basically just has to take himself out of the game, or he has to get bothered by the refs. That's what you need to have happen early. Is if you can draw some fouls on him or something and get him angry, then he can take himself out of the game. But even if you do that, you've got Kyrie. Is Kyrie playing right now? I didn't notice him in the game the other day.
I haven't paid too much attention. I'm just like fantasizing about what Dallas is, with Klay Thompson and Klay
Thompson has been shooting well so far for them this season, which is concerning because I thought that he'd be completely washed. And then they've got all of their rebounders that are a struggle for us, and Lively apparently is just like owning Gobert somehow, and they've got PJ Washington. Wait, PJ Washington, that's the right name. Yep. And then Gafford.
They have a stacked roster, honestly. Very happy for them. Like, I don't know why I'm saying that out loud. I'm just like, I want a shift in the West. I don't want to see. I want different teams in the West now. So it's nice to see. Go ahead.
I'm okay with them being one of them. Weirdly, though, the national media is like very not thinking that the Mavs are going to do well this season. I don't know why that is. All of them have, like, I've watched like a bunch of like the preseason like preview shows of people like guessing the over-unders and stuff like that for them. Everybody thinks that they're going to be like a 6 or lower seed, or I guess higher seed, 6, 7, 8, 9 or something like that, which is very strange to me. I think they're going to be a top 4 seed pretty comfortably. But maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong.
Yeah, we get to talk about Dallas more on Tuesday, but just a little worried just because we haven't really gelled or clicked on all cylinders yet. But we get to find out a little bit more of our dynamic, ascension here with Randall and DiVincenzo. I think DiVincenzo is going to be a big part of that game. Yeah, and Randall is a different dynamic than Cat, right? So how do they respond, and will we bench Rudy? To have Nas and Julius Randle out there. So, I mean, we have a lot of looks. We have to figure them all out. Dallas is kind of very obviously run. So, and they all benefit from Luka being the main ball handler because he's just crazy. He's crazy with passing.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. It's not going to be fun.
But we'll be here to post recap. So
we will be here to post game recap. And I think that's going to do it for us today. A nice long show. Which I thought halfway through the game, I was like, this is going to be a 20-minute show. I have nothing to say. Then we let it go. The team did, not us. Sorry about the technical difficulties to start the show. I still haven't figured it out. I've been trying to figure it out in the background over here, and it's still...
Hey, Cameron, is that golf clubs?
No.
What's to the right of you?
This?
The plant?
This is a plant and a light. A plant light,
Like you golf? All right.
I do golf, though.
Oh, never mind.
I used to golf for real in high school. I was like on the team and stuff, or middle school. Like
a mural team, or like?
I have no idea what it was back then, but I actually did golf, and I'm okay, but I don't do it very often. Anyways, cool. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. If you haven't already, like the stream. Sorry, I didn't really say that at the beginning of the stream. So if you could like the stream, that would be awesome on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're almost at 2,100 subscribers. That's
comment
awesome.
below on how much you want Rob Dillingham to play.
Yes.
Give us a percentage and hashtag Wad Squad. Let's make that a thing.
Wad Squad merch, trying to get that going too. I would like to have some Wad Squad merch. I just have to be creative for a second or hire somebody. If you know anybody that does t-shirt designs or designs in general,
Including yourself. Yeah.
well, yes, let it be known, because we would love to work with other artists and not just me poking around in Photoshop, downloading fonts from Duff Font and just putting words. Anyways, great to see you all. Hopefully I didn't mess up anything ending the stream. So 52 wins still possible. Only 50 more to go. 50 more to get to 52 wins. We're above 500. Yay. But Dallas is on Tuesday. So thank you, everybody. We will see you Tuesday. 52 wins. And what's the other thing that I say? I'm forgetting everything.
Outro is the new intro.
Yeah, intro, outro, yada, yada. Thanks, Eric, for the 5 gifted. We will see you all Tuesday night. Peace.
Yo, trying to hit this. I guess I could take one.
I believe that the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to win the World Championship.
They are advancing to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 20 years.
Oh, it's on, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, baby. Nobody will ever come catch me. I'm just trying to be myself.